Morning, everybody. Welcome back to BYT. I'm gonna get underneath the bus and trace down the air tanks and see if I had condensation in the tanks. One of my, I don't know, it's like an air solenoid. There's a valve by the back passenger tire that's constantly leaking air. It's not building up pressure, so therefore I have to find out what's going on with my air brakes. I will see you in a bit. Alright, so what I found out is it wasn't a check valve for my brakes, check valve for the air suspension. So I'll have to go in and research that and see what those check valves are. I just pushed up on the check valve, it started to build pressure, and it shut off. And the suspension started to lift. So, but it's all part of the air system, which controls the brakes and the suspension. So if one part of the system is going to leak or going to be problematic, it needs to be resolved fairly quickly. So I will research air suspension on these buses, and I'll figure out what that check valve is called. And it might just be a check valve. But good thing is, it's not, the brakes engage. I did a bleed down test. Once I held that check valve, the exhaust port and that check valve, and it started to build pressure, it worked fine. I did a bleed down on it, where you pump the brakes 3 times, you hold them, you watch your gauges. If they drop 3 psi in a minute, they need to be repaired. There's a leak. So, you know, if you depress your air, I got a hair in my eye. Didn't get it. If you depress the master brake, park brake, and then you bleed down the system, when it gets below 60 psi, my alarm comes on, which is what it's supposed to do. When you get below 30 psi, the park brake engages, which is supposed to do. Is it fast? Not really. I think it could be faster, but it could just be dirty. The whole thing inside this bus is filthy right now. I will, take it out of the dashboard, clean it up, and I'll make sure, the button itself is not the cause of it being slow. And then I'll check all that stuff out. My RPM gauge, it works when it wants to. Kind of strange. Oil pressure is good. It goes, I give it gas, oil pressure goes up and down. I'm hoping to get my water temperature to rise a little bit, so I know that gauge is working. Trans temperature gauge, yeah, that probably won't come up, and find out if that's working for quite some time. I'm watching my air pressures here. I know they are supposed to build up and release every so often. It's a diesel with air brakes. They build up, you hear the pressure release. So, hit the brakes a few times, let off some pressure, and then watch it build back up. So, just checking a lot of things out. It's actually not too bad out here right now. I was able to get under the bus without getting cold. My hands aren't bad. I think with looking around and seeing how dirty everything is, the dashboard, I have a good friend who's going to be coming over sometime in the future, and we're going to be putting a sound system in the bus. So that is going to, I can't wait for that. It'd be nice to have some music, some tunes while I'm working. And let's see, I believe, let's see, right up here. We're going to put the speakers in this area, both sides. Down here where the master switch box is for the door, I'm going to remove this, put it over down here or over here, and then the stereo system will be mounted in this location. So I can't wait. That would be nice, because I am getting to the point now where I'm going to have to really make some heavy decisions on what to do, where I want things, where am I going to put certain items. So that we will have to, I'll have to get on the ball with that. Yeah, I do have to button up some stuff in the back, wiring, brake lights, blinkers, welding. But as far as like all the major fabrication, I still have to go get the other camper so I can get the door, the skin, some of the electrical, the holding tanks, the sink, the stove. I can't really figure out where any of that's going, what size to build my cabinets, until I get that stuff. So, I still have to get on top, sand down the roof, get some sealing up there, caulk and seal all the windows. I'm just going to have to start getting busy with it. So, we'll talk to you in a minute. Alright, here's what I'm thinking on the drain. I welded these caps on. I can weld that up the wall because this will be flush with the floor. So any water that goes in, it can only, it can't fill up. And that will be, underneath the bus. And I'll have the same thing on that end over there. And then, this here will be all seamed to the floor. This will be seamed to the floor. And then this will be welded to the wall over there. Well, over there. I'll, just straight cut, recess this into the floor, weld, and do that all the way across. Do the same thing on that side as I have on this side. Yes, water can sit in here, but very minimal. And with that being open on both ends and open up here, it should, any standing water should evaporate. This is my cure for water coming in the garage, hitting the floor, and making it under my wall. Let me know what you think. Any other ideas? I do believe it'll work. Because I'm going to seal that. That'll all be sealed. Once I have it skinned out, I will come around everything and seal it all the way down to the floor. And then I'm going to reseal this seam here as well, both sides. So any water that rushes from the back inward should hit this channel. And like I said, with it being open that much, see if I can give you a better view here. With it being open that much on the end, turn it around, I'm going to have a good opening. It's definitely not going to be able to fill. So, let's set this in place here. I still haven't even traced out where it's going to go. With it sitting like that, where you see the dark area will actually be recessed under the floor. So I don't see how it can't work. All I can do is give it a shot, see how it goes, run into issues, fix them as they come. See you in a bit. Alright, there you have it. Drain's right outside. I just have to, come in and finish spotting this up. It's just in place. Fill that in. But I think once I get the door in, I'll be able to cut this right out of the way and just spot weld this part of the wall. I'll screw it down to the floor as well. But my outer skin is going to come down into this channel. So anything that hits the outer wall will run down into the channel as well. I don't think I'm going to have to remove this bottom piece and put a seal underneath it. With how well this is working, I'll be able to seam this. The door threshold will come down into the channel. And then, like I said, the outer skins of the wall will come down into the channel. So anything that hits it, if I want to bike in here or whatever, rain comes in sideways and hits that wall, it's all going to run down. So I think that's gonna work out well. Weld it all back in place so the floor stays solid. And so far it's looking pretty good. I didn't get no buckles, no warps in the floor when I cut it out, so it stayed pretty straight. Hammered it down. And next I'll cut out that piece and I will put in the other side, which is right there. So yeah, I'm liking it. Getting some stuff done. And of course I'll come on up underneath and I'm going to weld this seam from the inside, but I will also come from the outside and weld what I can from underneath. At the tail end of the fuel tank, which is no problem. As long as it's sealed, it's metal, it's coated, it'll be alright. There's part of it right there. So yeah, I think this little venture is going to work out good. See you in a bit. Well, I'm just kind of looking at this as a happy accident. Let me see down there. Compared to down there, the drain is the same size. But if you look at the angle, this one here, this side all the way over to the center, is pitched. I couldn't get that to drop down in any farther, so everything will pitch this way. So if there is any standing water, it'll all be on that side or right here in the middle. So, which I can always just put in a weep hole down through there when I'm done. Hell, I can put weep holes all throughout here, just a one set of holes through the center. But so far, if anything comes in on that side over here, it will drain this way towards the center of the bus. Just happened to be a happy accident, but you know what? It's in. I gave bad thing about spot welding, especially with the flux core, is you go through a lot of tips. But I got this small section right from here to here to go. And of course, once I get the door in place, then I will do this area. So I'm happy with it. It's one of my biggest concerns, and we're Thursday, I believe. We're supposed to get a couple inches of rain. So I'm going to not tarp this back here, and I am going to, of course I'll pick up all my electrical equipment, plugs and whatnot, but I want to see how the water flows through. and where it goes. And hopefully it goes into my drain and out. I'll see you in a bit. Alright. I got her all sanded down. You'll see all these little black spots. These little areas here. That's where I actually welded on top of this, and I didn't attach to this. So I will re-go over all these little spots where I have undercuts, and I can see the seam. I don't know if you can see that right there. So I can see the seam. I'll go through and I'll re-weld that, and get it sanded back down to where you go from this. Let's see if I find a good spot right here. You go from being able to see a seam to not being able to see a seam. Looks pretty good. Other than that, I'll come through and redo all that, clean it all up again. And that's the whole point, you know. We need a nice smooth transition right here. I don't want nobody, you know, come out here in the garage in your bare feet. I don't want to cut myself or anything. And I'm still deciding whether or not I'm gonna put some kind of grate over top of it. I don't know. You know, it's only a couple inches wide, and once I get the door cut out, you know, I'll really be able to tell. You know, I've been stepping over this big old square hole, and very rarely have I ever had an issue. So we'll have to wait and see once it gets closer to being finished. I might just be able to screw a couple of L brackets to the wall, come down with an L bracket, and just set something over top of it, affix it to the L bracket. You know, and I'm worried about the tripping height. You know, if you got a grate that sits over top of it and it's on a flat, and however thick your grating is, you know, I mean, I guess I could take some of that wire mesh that I got from the gate and do small strips, or even just like right at the threshold, you know, where I can actually weld it to the floor, feather it, so there is no tripping hazard, you know, just at the door. Because over here in this area, I don't know, my bike tires and whatever boxes I'm going to have, and I'm looking at this size of this area here, and I'm thinking maybe a battery tray, you know, do a one battery and then another battery and then another battery. They'll all be, you know, you can put a box in here, put shelves in where you can put individual batteries, gang them together for the solar. You know, I do have this is going to be a nice wall here, so I could even do my power panels in this area. You know, and I will have cameras eventually. You know, I will have security cameras up in this area, or even on top, looking down. So I'm very, very pleased with the way that's turning out. It's turning out and giving me less troubles than I thought it was gonna. That's just one step closer. Now I can, you know, once I get this door here and measure out how wide it's going to be and move my pillars into place where they need to be, I can lock them down, cut out that threshold, put the door in, and then, you know, start paneling this. I'm trying to get, before I start any work in there, I'm trying to get it dried in. No water issues, no drips from the windows, no leaks from the roof. So doing all the inside of that is going to determine how fast I can get this dried in. And that's one of the reasons I've been putting off doing this drain, is trying to figure out the best, safest, because it's part of the floor. I cut a section of the floor out. It's structural. This has to be, it has to take up and make up for what I removed. And I think it's doing a fine job. It's time consuming, that's for sure. I even took a break and got the old shop vac running and sucked up some of the grinding dust. I did that before I sanded. So now I'll have to go back through and do it again. And I really need to come through and give this a good wipe down, good cleaning. Even my dashboard, you've seen it earlier, where I was looking at my air gauge. I mean, this whole area you can see with the sun, it's just covered in soot. So I really need to get that done. And I said we're gonna put, I believe, 2 6x9s, one here, one there, and then 2 6.5s, and then somewhere either over here or over here, I'll build a box for a sub. Not really sure. I gotta, like I said, I gotta get all the interior. I gotta get that table and everything out of the other camper to figure out where these seats are gonna be. And then, you know, somewhere in here, I was thinking like a shoe rack or something of that nature. You know, come out with a shelf, bring it on the angle, back over here. I'm definitely gonna put the handrail back in and make it usable. Like that one is down there. I'm keeping it. I'm gonna put this other angled handrail in here as well. So I will incorporate that into whatever is going to end up in this corner. Still have to tighten that screw, stop this leak. Oh yeah. Fun, fun, fun. Did a little bit more stitching on this. And I did some more stitching here. There. On top, on that side. Still have to come over here and do some more stitching on this side. On top. Up here. Stitch this. Get this all done up. Get that in place. Still have to do that side. Still have to come down here and do a couple of long stitches right there. And then of course this plate that goes across the floor. I gotta get this area all cleaned up prior to doing that, which will probably be a project for tomorrow because I think I'm one more out for today. Alright everybody, that's it for today. I am done like dinner. Like I said, I do what I can when I can. I'm gonna get her all closed up, ready for tomorrow. Get some rest, take it easy, and I'll see what I can get into tomorrow. So if you like today's content, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below. And whatever you're doing out there, you be safe. Have yourselves a great day.